All right. All right. Yeah, I want to bring up a little bit of information here. Sheriff Richard Mack. Now, William, we've talked about these sheriffs. Sheriff Paul Barbeau, Sheriff Deaver. They've spoken before Congress, folks. They've spoken before Congress. And about this situation in the on the border. Sheriff Richard Mack is not just worried about the border. He's worried about the whole country, and he wants to organize the sheriffs here. Let me see if I can dig up some information here. By the way, why are they so scared of people like me, like William? Because, as Alexander Solzhenitsyn explained, why the people I've interviewed in the last years and I have been targeted and attacked so much, for a country to have a great writer is like having a second government. That's why no regime has ever loved great writers, only minor ones. Now, I've spent the last 25 years researching history and current events, interviewing top-level intellects around the world concerning the plans and methods of the one world global government, bankster-supported crowd. I discussed the red and blue list with men named in my films. It seemed absurd, but that was before we gave Brown and Root $350 million to build the FEMA camps. That was before I filmed the first Homeland Security briefing by the Department of Homeland Security, Gestapo, KGB for world government. That film's entitled True Face of FEMA. Now, what I've written about over all these years was accurate, and I always urged everyone to get prepared, become vocal. The money powers, the international banks, and the corporations that have sprung up behind them, what President Eisenhower called a military-industrial complex, have been sacrificing young Americans in undeclared wars, is now targeting civilians in America, just like William told you. Just like William told you. And Bringer out told us, well, the enemy's weak. He doesn't have planes, tanks, or helicopters, so he'll use unconventional tactics, and we must adapt. In the case of a national disaster, like an earthquake along the New Madrid fault line, or a nuclear attack, or single outbreak of smallpox in a major metropolitan area, we'll need 400,000 well-trained, well-armed, organized, disciplined troops to control the American people, because some of them won't follow orders. It soon became clear in the Homeland Security Assessment, reprinted in my book Mystery Babylon, that the weak enemy he was speaking of is the civilian populations in this country and the others around the world. Now, I've got up on my website a picture of the Wall Street protest, and this is good. This is good. I'm glad they're protesting this. I'm glad they're trying to do something. But they are doing it they are okay. The writing's on the wall, folks. If you want to retain a shred of the freedoms granted you by God, you're going to have to shake the chains of dogma and control propaganda that passes for mainstream media and get organized, not as a gang or a giant group led by leaders you can't see or talk to. You need to rise to another level and use the ways I've outlined in Liberty Villages for you and your family's protection. Large organizations need large money to run ads in the same media that's being used to suppress you. Take this information, learn to be self-sufficient, become prepared to stand together with true patriots. I'm not the bad guy here, folks. The militia is not the bad guy. They told you they tried to tell you that I started the militias like that was a bad thing. Well, it wasn't. What part of the Second Amendment didn't they understand? They told you I tried to start the militia, but they didn't tell you I did it in the governor's office, and we weren't exactly a terrorist organization, and we didn't have a damn thing to do with blowing Oklahoma City, but they tried to paint us. Now, they're doing the same thing on Wall Street. Well, right now, they're not even telling you. Look at the pictures on my website and see thousands of people in the street, just like they were in Egypt. And the cops are reacting. The cops are standing and says, there's a reason for this. The people who have been crafting this socialist takeover of America have been working hard at this for thousands of years. Try to thinking of the Bible as a plan, not prophecy. Think about Jesus warning us about the mark of the beast of the Jews who say they're Jews and are not. And finally, what we think of as our government, what we think of as our government can control what the pastors of the 501c3 churches tell us. 9/11 was merely a shot over the bow of this nation. It was the beginning of the final push towards culling the masses of humanity to the elite's acceptable population levels written in stone in the Georgia Guidestones. The banksters have fomented war after war, creating situation after situation to reduce populations and tighten the controls on the people under the guise of the New World Order. That's code for one world government of the banksters, by the banksters, and for the banksters. It may have backfired on them. The Wall Street, the people on Wall Street, these aren't people that they're might be being led in a different area, into different directions. But on 9/11, 3,000 people were sacrificed, and the lies were so obvious that even the common drugged out, dumbed down couch potatoes started to sit up straight and say, "What the fuck?" Lies are being foisted upon us, and it was reported that the firefighters and first responders were there at ground zero, heard bombs going off in lobbies, were barred from the 10th anniversary memorial. More of a police presence than ever before. Afraid of terrorists? No. Afraid of an awakening American public. Afraid of the people listening to this right now. Now, that's just why my magazine is off the shelves, and my website, freeamerican.com, is blocked in every library, major plants like Intel, and no publisher or agent will handle my work. The number of Americans killed in 9/11 events are drops in the bucket compared to the 50,000 Americans killed by illegal immigrants. Uh-oh, I think I just lost something here.
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we're reconnecting you now.
Thank you, thank you. And still going to house, still there, okay. Just somebody screwing with me. The number of Americans killed in the 9/11 events are drops in the bucket compared to the 50,000 Americans killed by illegal immigrants since 9/11. Here are the millions of Germans, French, Korean, Vietnamese, Iraqis, Palestinians, and Afghanis, now Libyans killed in our wars or police actions or regime changes. Yeah, war's hell. Yeah, we all know that. So why do we keep going back in them? Perhaps the civilian populations are being entertained or programmed by watching the war on TV. How about when the target is you, the people of your country? What if they want the natural resources of your country or the product of your label? Remember, they stole the #1 cash crop in America, which was hemp, made it illegal for you to have it here, or made it illegal for our farmers to grow it. And so they took our natural resources back in the 30s. Yeah, again, I ask, who won the Cold War? It is your fathers, your sons, your daughters that are being fed into the meat grinder of war as soldiers for the profits of a few. Now, this doesn't mean, if you're against the war, we ought to be having protests against war, but we shouldn't hold our soldiers and our veterans responsible for it. That's what they want us to do. They want the Homeland Security right now is trying to turn people against the veterans. They're trying to kill them. They're trying to drug them. Oh, you got post-traumatic stress syndrome. You better take this Halcyon or this Haldol or this Valium or this psychoactive substance, which, by the way, leads to more murders and everything. Nobody's ever died from marijuana. Nobody's ever killed anybody over marijuana, but they'll damn sure do it over the pharmaceuticals. Yep. Yeah, I agree with proof equals fact here on the chat room. Yeah, the population addicted to drugs have to quit. You've got to quit the Valium. You got to quit the thing. You got to quit the heroin and coke. I quit cocaine. I quit doing cocaine down there in Miami when I found out the CIA was bringing it and making it, and that's why they got it legal. The actual action is not to increase the war on drugs. The answer is to legalize it, to abolish all laws against victimless crimes. And if you want to go sit in that corner and shoot all the heroin that your government is growing and protecting over in Afghanistan, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to put you in jail and spend $50,000 to support you and feed you and clothe you to keep you from doing drugs because you did drugs. That's insanity to me. Do we need to do exactly what Ron Paul says? Bring the soldiers back, put them on the border, guarding our borders, like they're doing in Afghanistan, like they're doing in Iraq, like they're doing in South Korea, and abolish all the laws, legalize hemp, let our farmers grow hemp again, and if you want to smoke it, put it in your backyard. You want to trade a little bit of your hemp for a little bit of cocaine grown by some farmer down in Peru, that ought to be between you and the farmer. The government doesn't, we don't need all of these police forces spying on the American people, or have a cop come up and arresting somebody for what you got in your pocket, son. What you got in your pocket? Oh, hey, I can probably get you 2 or 3 years in the in one of our private prisons where you can work, you can be slave labor. And by the way, one of the guests, I Am Legend, says they give armed forces shots before they went into Iraq that were psychologically damaging. I believe that. I got my shots when I volunteered in '64. I got my vaccines. A week later, I was dying in the hospital. I wasn't supposed to live. I was supposed to die from those shots. Didn't like my IQ, I guess, because I wasn't allowed to become an officer. I wasn't allowed to go into OCS either. And I complained. I went in beating on the deck. I want to know why I didn't get to OCS. I have never failed a test in my life. Ever failed a test. Oh, you didn't fail a test. No, you didn't fail a test. You scored so high on the test, on the IQ test, they won't let you be an officer because somebody with your IQ will question orders. Yeah. And by the way, they're trying to give your 12-year-old daughters shots. They're trying to do it without your permission. So, again, the vaccines are listed in weapons of mass destruction, folks. So you know, you want to put Perry in as president. He wants to drug your kids. Jerry Brown in California wants to drug your kids. Wants to give them vaccines containing mercury, thimerosal. Come on. Is that right? Is that what you want? Yeah, 40 years ago, I was a victim on the war of drugs. I was arrested in Texas for possession of marijuana, threatened with a possible life sentence for what is now semi-legal in so many states. I wrote a book about the future while in prison. I called it science fiction, but much of what I wrote about, I've watched come true over the years. The police state I envisioned then is being foisted upon us. After 40 years of sitting in a battered dust-covered box, I'm finally getting the chance to edit and update that type manuscript. I submitted it once or twice while I was in prison, but that didn't work out too well. All it did was alert them to who I was, and I've been in a war with them ever since. Let me see this. The answer, and I agree with Richard Mack on here. The answers on this, the answer to this is our county sheriffs. These are elected by us. They're elected by us. They're elected officials. Now, all of them aren't going to work. You know, if you're an illegal alien or you got friends that are illegal aliens, well, you're going to be standing there calling Joe Arpaio and Sheriff Deaver a racist. You're going to be doing that. That's understandable. But we really have to organize, and that's what I'm trying to put this event together in Cochise County for, to bring the people, the farmers, the ranchers together to stop this. To stop this. If we got homeless veterans, put them to work. Put them to work. Let me see. Okay. Hold on just a minute. Computer's running slow. But, come on, guys. Let's go here. Okay, what's going on here? I don't know what's happening here. The computer is running so slow, I'm probably getting some kind of interference here. And probably got too much running. We'll see if we can fix some of that. Okay. All right, let's see what we got in here. Maybe it's working now. I just sent an email out. If you're not on my email list, write me. Send me an email. And all this started with a breakfast meeting. This Cochise County started with a breakfast meeting with a lady in Las Vegas, and about Larry Deaver, who had just spoken to Congress about the situation along the border. The border situation I've been reporting on for many years is getting more and more serious. Sheriff Deaver's concerns mirror the information I've been researching and writing about and talking about for years. One of my last hard copy of magazines told the story of Border Patrol agents Nacho Ramos and Jose Campion. Bikers came together in Phoenix and raised enough money to allow Nacho's wife, Monica, to save their house. We kept the pressure on, and Bush commuted their sentence. It was an honor to interview Jose when he got out of prison. I'm sorry, not Jose, but Nacho. For being outspoken, Sheriff Larry Deaver was and is being targeted, labeled as a racist by much of our mainstream media, and the full weight of the justice in Arizona for their willingness to enforce federal law. I know what he's going through. I've been subjected to these tactics. I ended up divorced, selling my property, traveling, and writing my books instead of articles. The books are finished, my radio show is still going, and I was pleased to be working with another sheriff of the caliber of my friend Richard Mack. Larry needs to raise money to defend himself from our federal government. He wanted the people of Arizona aware of the seriousness of the situation. He also wanted to help the veterans and chose the once-in-a-lifetime date of 11/11 Veterans Day. Could I help? I suggested doing more than a poker run. I could see oath keepers like Richard Mack backing up our sheriff, farmers and ranchers providing shelter for homeless vets who would in turn help them run their farms and ranches and ensure a non-GMO supply of food. The event turned into a 3-day event starting on Friday, 11/11/11, and will cover most of Cochise County, the land of legends. The Harley dealers are selling tickets and helping promote the event. Vendor booths are being sold by the Arena Bar in Benson, Arizona. Tombstone is arranging for a hell of a party there, and the beautiful Gadsden Hotel in Douglas is giving half price off its rooms to ticket holders. I think it's important for everyone to understand what is really happening, not just in Arizona, but in all of the border states, and understand we need to stand with our sheriff to help defend our country and state. Richard Mack sent me this letter. He said, "What would you do if you knew you had one chance to save your family and country from complete and utter destruction? What would you do if there were a lawful and peaceful way to restore the Constitution as the supreme law of the land? As a former police officer and county sheriff, if I were to take the stand in court right this minute and be sworn in to tell the truth, I would, without any hesitation or ambiguity, testify to you and every American there is a solution, and there, in fact, a way to secure liberty, protect ourselves and our family, and live again in peace and freedom. The solution is in your hands. It is within your own backyard. It is in your own country. The solution is state sovereignty, and each county acting in accordance with the principles established herein. It's you working with your sheriff and other elected officials to stand against the tyrant and for individual liberty. The bottom line answer is your sheriff. Ultimately, he's the one who will decide what is and what is not enforced in your county. He has the authority to and duty to interpose himself on your behalf to protect you from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. He is the people's protector. We've been working on this movie, says Sheriff Richard Mack, for 3 years now. We're ready to push this concept to the next level. What concept is this? The concept of creating constitutional sheriffs all across America. The Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officer Association is hosting its first national convention. We're inviting 150 to 200 sheriffs from all over the country to attend. We're going to train them, firm up their knowledge of the Constitution, their oath of office, and then establish a new declaration from the sheriffs to the federal government. And there are a few things these sheriffs will not tolerate from the feds. Literally, the CSPOA is going to create a nation of constitutional sheriffs. There is no abuse. They will not be able to stop. With them on board the Freedom Train, there will be no stopping us. We can have America back tomorrow and not next election like that's ever worked, and not next year now. We need your help. We need you to pledge your lives, fortunes, and sacred honors to this holy cause. We've just started our money bomb to ask that you, whatever you do, whatever you can do to help us pay for this Constitutional Sheriff's Convention. We're not asking for your fortunes, and merely what you can do. To make this all happen, we must raise $200,000 to cover all of the sheriff's travel and training accommodations, travel accommodations and training costs. As soon as we reach our targeted goal, the convention will happen. It'll be the most important meeting since the founders signed the Constitution. In addition, he suggests that you watch his Oath Keeper message, forward to your local sheriff, invite them to this very important first national convention, and do forward this email in order to help get the message seen by all the sheriffs across this great country. These sheriffs are key to taking back our republic. The online is www.cspoa or www.sheriffmac.com. And he's in Ridgewood, 112 Ridgewood Drive, Fredericksburg, Texas 78624. That's Richard Mack. And folks, I need help too. I've been trying to bring you this information. I've got all of this information up. I have books available. I need donations, and thank you. A couple of people donated the other day, and every little donation makes a difference. Now you can, if you donate $20, you can tell me, send me Mystery Babylon, send me One Bloody Alabaster Eye, send me Deadly Flashes of Silver, and see what kind of writer I am. And folks, I can tell you right now that John D. MacDonald's lawyers told me that I wrote just like John D. MacDonald. And so you will be, I think you'll be pleased. I think you'll be pleased. Okay. What do we got here? What kind of time we got? We got a few minutes left in it. freeamerican.com. My email is clay@freeamerican.com. And you can make a donation. Any size donation will certainly help. I am trying to bring you the kind of information you need to make intelligent decisions. And I do have links. We now have structures. We have the ability to build a structure at the same cost as conventional construction here that will survive windstorms. It'll survive Planet X. It'll survive just about everything. If you're a few feet above sea level, it'll survive tornadoes. It'll survive hurricanes. It's called monolithic domes. And by putting one of these on a ranch, and it'll hold about a half a dozen veterans. And if the farmers donate a little bit of land, and will let people stay on their land and teach them how to be farmers, how to be ranchers. You got a chance at survival here. You got a chance at survival here. What do we got here? I can't see where my thing is here. All right. Okay. Let's see what we got. If I can get it all to open up. Damn it, lost it again. All right. We're out of time here. Thanks, folks. Thanks for listening. FreeAmerican.com. And as soon as I get this closed, we're out of here.
Call recording has been completed.
All right. Have a good one. All right. Got that one out of the way. Got this one out of the way. And what else we got? Come on. Let's go to work here. Okay. Music's about to start here. The music's about to start.
Communism is dead, they say? I think they lied. It's true. They lied, for it still survives in the good old USA. Eh? Right here it lives, and here it breathes, and feeds upon our liberties. And you have the nerve to say it's not that way? Well, they're taking the patriots away, ha-ha. They're taking the patriots away, ho-ho, hee-hee, ha-ha. To the prison camp, where life's unbearable all the time. And I'll be happy to see my patriot friends again. They shackle me in, and they're taking the patriots away, ha-ha. Here comes Jack Rude, the thugs in black, to smash your doors and stomp your cat, to roust you out in the late, late hours of the night. Wrong. At 3 a.m. they scream and shout and scatter your living room about. With threats of death they swear as they tear up your rugs. For guns.